Good morning.
Hi everyone, good morning and good evening to everyone. Thanks for joining today's Salesforce Einstein online training from svtechsoft. Okay, svtechsoft, we are completely specialized into Salesforce as we are giving online training and job support from last 10 years. Okay, today actually we are conducting Salesforce Einstein demo. Our trainer is Avinash Nair. Okay, he has some almost 5+ years of experience, especially into Salesforce Einstein. He will take over for demo. Okay, yeah, Avinash. Okay, we will give control to you. Please proceed further.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I will be mute myself. If you need any further clarification, you can just ask me. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so good morning and good evening, everybody. So before starting the session, just wanted to know, anybody has any idea about this tool? Like all you have been like, do you all know about the Salesforce Tableau CRM, which was earlier known as Salesforce Einstein, or is it like no idea at all about it?
Yeah. Hi, Avinash. This is Srikan.
Yeah.
I do have
Hi,
little
Shrikant.
experience working on it right now. So I want to just expand my skill on the Tableau CRM. I do have reporting experience working with other tools, OBI and other Power BI, Tableau, but not something embedded into the Salesforce. So yeah, that's the
Okay,
background.
great. Thanks a lot, Shrikant. What about others?
Hi Avinash, good morning.
Good morning.
This is Venkat. I am also
Hi,
working.
Venkat.
I am also working on TCRM. Recently started in my project. So I want to explore my skills in the configuration like that. How to provide the securities like that. Recently started.
Okay, great. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot, Venkat.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yeah, hi Avinash, Ram Mohan here. So I have
Hi,
experience
Rammohan.
I have experience in SAP and Power BI. I don't have any experience in Salesforce or Tableau. So I'm very new to this technology.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah,
Yeah,
hi.
Avinash, this is Hari here.
Okay,
I
hi,
have
Hari.
experience in Salesforce, but not in Einstein or Tableau CRM.
Okay, fine. You are completely new, right, to Salesforce Tableau CRM. Like you don't have any idea what it is about, isn't it? Like on a functional
Yes.
level, that's it. Got
Yeah, I'm
it.
the
Okay.
beginner. Yeah.
Complete beginner. Okay, fine. Thanks, Hari. Yeah, Tharun, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Avinash. Basically, I have a knowledge on Tableau and ClickU, but I'm interested to learn this Tableau CRM. So that's it.
Okay, and what about Salesforce? Do you have any idea about Salesforce?
Yeah, a basic admin I know.
Acha. Okay, great. Okay, so thanks a lot everybody for your short introduction. So welcome to this session of Salesforce Tableau CRM. So earlier it was known as Salesforce Einstein. So just a few things, like definitely, it will be great if you have a little bit of idea about Salesforce, nothing much. So for this session, let me just tell you that I will be starting from the very beginning. So no matter if you're completely new or even if you have a bit of experience, this session will be started from the very beginning itself. Okay. So basically I will be assuming that you all don't know anything about Salesforce Tableau CRM at all, and I will be walking you through from the very beginning how it is all about. So right, starting from the setup and how things work out, and then walking through each of the parts which are there in Salesforce Tableau CRM. So don't worry at all, even if you are complete beginners. Just one thing regarding Salesforce, it will be a bit helpful if you have a bit of knowledge about Salesforce. When I say Salesforce, you don't need to have complete knowledge about Salesforce admin also, to be frank enough. Like, a little bit about what Salesforce is about. Like, you have different objects and all. So I think a prerequisite, it will be great if you can have a little bit about idea about Salesforce object and its relationship. Although I will be walking you through, like when we start our session, I will definitely walk you through that a bit as well. But it will be then helpful if you do a little bit of research or homework about Salesforce object and relationship. Okay, like, what is accounts, what is opportunities, okay, what are cases, then what are the contacts. Okay, so if you have a little bit of idea about these things, I think that will be more than enough. Fine. So other than that, don't worry about this thing, like, the course will be designed, and or the classes will be held in such a way so that you can understand everything right from the scratch. Fine. So somebody who is having a little bit of experience, for them it could be a little bit boring maybe in the initial stage, because as I told you, I will be starting right from the very beginning itself. Okay. But yeah, as time progresses, maybe the ones who has a bit of experience, they can also learn a lot more. Fine. So coming back to this topic, okay, about Salesforce Tableau CRM. So at first, there's a link. Okay, there's a link actually which Salesforce provides. So this is the link itself. So usually, what happens whenever you make any developer org, a free developer org, okay, the link is a bit different. And for Salesforce Tableau CRM, this is basically the link. Fine. So maybe I can share this in the chat window. Uh, Somebody saying something? Fine. So I will be walking you through this. So anybody, if anybody has any kind of question, you can just stop me at that point of time. Okay. This is anyhow a demo session. Fine. So if there is any question, definitely stop me there and you can ask your question, or you can ask at the end as well. Okay. Both works fine. So this is basically the link here. You need to just give your basic information, your first name, your last name, your email address. Okay. Your company, country, just give your personal email address. Okay, like for the sessions which we are having, so when you need to make um, your own org for Einstein Analytics, then ensure that you give your personal email address, at least for the ones where we are for these sessions and all. Okay, and you can just click on sign me up. This is a very basic thing, nothing much is there. So once you do that, you will be able to create your own Salesforce Tableau CRM account. Fine. So basically throughout this session, I will be actually saying Salesforce Tableau CRM because that is what the tool is currently called. But yeah, of course, earlier it was known as Salesforce Einstein. So both are same. Okay. So of course, maybe a little bit in the end, I will be actually sharing you about this journey of Salesforce Tableau CRM, like right from the beginning, what it was exactly called and how it came to Salesforce Tableau CRM. Fine. So this term Salesforce Tableau CRM means nothing but Salesforce Einstein. Okay. So this is the basic thing. Here you can create your information and you can create your free Salesforce Tableau CRM model. Okay. Now, once that is done, basically you will land up to this page. Okay. This is basically a Salesforce page. This is a Salesforce Lightning page. And once you make your free Einsteinics org, right, you have something over here called App Launcher. So somebody who has a little bit of knowledge about Salesforce, they will be knowing this. So this is the Salesforce org where we land up into. And over here where you see the 9 dots, this is called your App Launcher. So what you can do, you can click over here. So once you click over here, you can search something called Analytics Studio. Okay. If you just type over here Analytics Studio, or maybe in the beginning if you have that, you can just check that. So you need to click over here called Analytics Studio. Okay. Now once you click on this Analytics Studio, this is where you land up into. So this is what is something we are going to deal with. Okay, so this is where, as you can see, it's written over here Tableau CRM. So this is your Salesforce Tableau CRM, and this is where everything we are going to learn up. Okay, so this is it about this Salesforce Tableau CRM org. And once you land up over here, so this is basically the Salesforce Tableau CRM page, and whatever we are going to deal with in today's session, everything you are going to find up over here itself. Okay, now once you come over here, you see this gear icon. Okay, this is your setup. And once you click over here, you see something called as data manager. Okay, so data manager is nothing but your data layer side. So in Salesforce Tableau CRM, on a high level, we deal, so basically, it's known as an ETL tool. Okay, so extract, transform, and load. That is what the whole purpose of the Salesforce Tableau CRM is, to on a very uh, brief way. This is the main thing. Just like, there are many people over here who have worked in other reporting tools as well. This is what this tool is also all about. Okay, the extract, transform, and load. Fine. So regarding extraction, basically, or regarding any data layer, so in Salesforce Tableau CRM, we deal with two layers. One is the data layer. So data layer is like whatever you're extracting, whatever data you're extracting. If there are certain transformation which needs to be made over there, then we go for the data layer side, and that data layer is something you are going to find in the data manager. Okay, so in the data manager, everything related to data, whatever we want to deal with, is something we deal over here. Okay, and regarding the designer layer, so that designer layer is something which we mainly find over here in this Analytics Studio. So regarding the dashboard or any kind of data set, of course data set is something you can view from here as well. Okay, but that is something you can take it from here. So two layers are there, data layer and design layer. So data layer is something we mainly deal in the data manager, and design layer is something we can find over here in the Analytics Studio. Okay, up till here, any question? So please feel free to interrupt me anytime. Okay, the whole purpose of this session is to ensure that you understand whatever I am saying about Salesforce Tableau CRM. This session is all about understanding of Salesforce Tableau CRM on a bit high level. Okay, so you have every right to interrupt me anywhere and ask me any kind of question. Okay, so I take the silence as no. Then I hope
So,
you are able to.
Avinash, I have
Yeah,
one
sure.
question here. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see this data manager and data manager beta. What is two data managers?
Sure. Basically, data manager is nothing but where we are dealing with. When we say beta, right? What happens is that in Salesforce, like every time there's some upgradation done in every release. Okay, so if you are like a bit new to Salesforce, or maybe somebody who knows about Salesforce, there are every release which we go through. Okay, like we have the summer release, the spring release, the winter release. Okay, so in every release of Salesforce, they make certain upgradation in their product. Fine. So what happens, sometimes there are some features which are available. Okay, but maybe that feature is not completely there in that particular release. So what they does is, like, suppose in the next release, whatever features are going to come up, they kind of give that in that beta versions. Fine. So beta version is nothing but that version where some certain features are coming up, and in future releases you're going to have that feature completely in your org. Okay, I hope you understood.
Yeah, okay. Now I understood. I thought data manager and data manager beta. Beta means child, right? In Hindi. I thought
In a way,
data
yeah, yeah,
manager
in a
is a
way you can
father.
say. Yes, yes, yes. In a way, you can say that. Like basically, it's a child only. Okay, in a way, you can say that, but it's going to take up the father role in future. Okay, so it's a bit like that. You can say. I mean, you can do that comparison in that way also. Like certain features are there which are going to come up soon in the upcoming release. Okay, and they are just going giving you a gist of it. Like what are the features you can expect in future. Okay,
Okay.
like that same data manager, in what way you can view in the future. Fine. Okay, anybody else? Okay, fine. So this is what it is about the Salesforce Tableau CRM. Fine, and let me just give you a brief walkthrough about the Salesforce Tableau CRM. Fine. So what is this Salesforce Tableau CRM? It is nothing but a product of Salesforce. As I told you in the beginning, that whoever have joined this session, maybe once you attend the main session, it will be great if you have a little bit idea about Salesforce. Okay, like these questions, like what is this Salesforce, what is it all about, and what are the different release which we have in Salesforce. Then these basic questions, like what are the beta versions which we have, and then the objects, basically the accounts, the opportunities, So this kind of things you must definitely know, it will be helpful. But Salesforce Tableau CRM, it's a product of Salesforce and a cloud-based platform. It is rebranded analytics tool formerly known as Wave Analytics. So from the very beginning, right, when it started, it was known as Wave Analytics. Okay, and of course, then after that, there have been a lot of rebranding which was done. I definitely have a slide as well which walks you through that. So I will definitely walk you through at the end maybe. And it is used for data exploration, visualization, and getting insights for business. So this is what Tableau CRM is all about. Whenever we want to explore data or we want to visualize that, okay, so just like we have the Salesforce standard reports and dashboard, I think somebody was there who already has idea about this. Okay, so mainly it's more kind of a reporting tool itself. And being native to Salesforce, it is secure and scalable to meet the changing business requirement. So depending upon the business requirement, it can always what to say, optimize itself. Okay, so it can always scale itself depending upon to meet the business requirement, any kind of complex business requirement which are there to meet itself up. It is definitely a great tool. And you can say it's basically an app used to visualize the activity occurring in your Salesforce environment. So whatever activity we see occurring in our Salesforce environment, this is basically an app to visualize that activity. Okay, so this is what is about Salesforce Tableau CRM. Any question up till here? So maybe there could be certain lines which you may not be able to understand completely, which is fine. Okay, but I hope you got like on a high level like what this tool is all about. So once I walk you through much more, you will be able to understand it better. But any term which you didn't understand over here, or anything you want me to explain? Okay, fine. So I take the silence as no and I go forward.
Ganesh,
So why yeah, sure.
what is difference between Tableau and Tableau CRM?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, Tableau, it was a different tool altogether. Okay. So in this Salesforce, we have something called as, this wave analytics. So right from the time, when this thing started, it was known as Salesforce Wave Analytics. Okay. Then, of course, it got rebranded itself. And, early it was known as Salesforce Einstein Analytics. So basically, this Salesforce Einstein is nothing but a tool of Salesforce. Okay. Now, Tableau is a completely different software altogether, but what happened recently, Salesforce acquired Tableau. Okay. Now, because it acquired Tableau, it got rebranded as Salesforce Tableau CRM, which means there are certain features of Tableau which have been put over here. Okay. Like we are replicating a few features of Tableau, and that's why we refer this as Salesforce Tableau CRM. Tableau is a different reporting tool. There are a lot of other features as well. There are a lot of additional features. Okay. Like you have Tableau desktop, and then other stuffs as well. But this session will be all about Salesforce Tableau CRM. We are not going to learn anything about Tableau because Tableau, although there is a bit of similarities of what I will be walking through, but Tableau itself is there are huge things to learn on the Tableau as well. Okay. But here I have only experience in Salesforce Tableau CRM. This session will be all about Salesforce Tableau CRM. Maybe a few things which are common might get covered from Tableau, but otherwise Tableau is a completely different thing. I hope you got it right.
Yeah, yes, Ganesh.
Okay, okay, fine. So moving ahead, now why Tableau CRM? Basically, over the years, the quantity of data produced by the industries has increased, and we have a variety of data flowing from various sources. Like whenever anybody is running a business, or whenever anybody is running an institution, so there are different datas which we need to maintain, isn't it? Like right from the beginning when we started our school, let's say, I think everybody who has studied in school, like we have different uh, sections, right? We have different classes. We used to have different standards like standard 1, standard 2, standard 3, okay, 10 standard, 12 standard. Then of course in different standard also we used to have separate classification sections, like 1A, 1B, 1C, isn't it? Class 2A, class 2B, class 2C. So every time we had to maintain data, right? Even the school, they used to maintain data. Like there used to be a school office, okay, and there used to be a person who used to handle it, basically the management team of school. How many students are there, what are the name of those students, okay, they used to collect different information as well, right? Like name, then what are their gender, maybe height, weight, and whatever. Okay, age. Okay, so their parents details. So those information used to get collected. Okay, and definitely, like whenever we used to have our academics, like the marks which you used to score, we used to have something called report card, isn't it? So in the report card, we used to have different subjects and what are the marks we are getting. Now all these used to get tracked, because depending upon what are the marks each students are getting, they used to get some gifts, or some prizes, or let's say they used to get some grades, isn't it? So all those things used to get tracked, like how a student is performing right from class 1 to class 10. And like depending upon academics maybe, or sports, whatever, it could be anything. And different teachers have different liking for each student, so all these things get tracks, like how they are performing sport wise, how they are performing academic wise. Now it's nothing but collection of data. Now you can understand in a school, and sometimes students who are leaving the school, students who have rejoined the school, or students who are completely joining new to the school, all this data gets tracked. These are nothing but data. Okay, so what happens is that usually, in my case at least, when I was in school, okay, and I'm talking about like 10 years back, of course, okay, 10 to 15 years back. So at that time, usually in the management I used to see on the office, they used to maintain something called as Excel sheet. Like all the information they used to keep track in the Excel sheet, and in the Excel sheet they used to see like what are the students doing what and all. Again, Excel is a powerful tool, no doubt about that. And I think there's a lot to learn about Excel as well. Okay, like personally I also feel that I just know maybe 2 to 5% of Excel. Like there's a lot to learn. But what happens when it comes to visualization of data, it's not a very great tool to visualize, like just to, like if I take this example of school itself, like if I want to search for some students, okay, maybe I have to open different kind of Excel sheets, or maybe in one Excel sheet, if I'm maintaining so many pages, I have to open different kind of pages and look for that student name whom I want to search. Or let's say if I want to see which student is really great at sports, okay, let's say any student who is great at football, and let's say we want him to represent the school. So for any person, of course, any teacher who is there, usually any sports teacher who is there, they can recommend, which is fine. But let's say if the sports teacher is not there, and let's say it's an administrative responsibility to check out who that student is who is great at sport and who can represent the school. So for those, they need to keep track, and they kind of usually used to find through Excel sheet. But what happens, it becomes boring actually. Like it becomes a huge manual task for you to search and see, and going through Excel sheet, finding over there is a little bit boring task. So what happens through Salesforce Tableau CRM, it gives you that visualization tool. Like you can easily visualize and check how which students you want to check who is great at sports and all. So through visualization, like there are certain filters which you apply that are going to be walking you through. Okay, you will be able to know, like which students I want to extract for a particular uh, what to say, for a particular thing. Like somebody who is great at maths maybe, or science maybe, who can represent the Olympiad team, or somebody great at sports. Okay, now what happens, this was a simple example about school. And let's say if a school wants to expand as well, there will be a lot of teachers who will also come up, right? So somebody could be great at math, somebody could be great at science, somebody could be great at history. So all those information needs to get tracked. Okay, so this is a very basic example which I hope you all will be able to relate to. Okay, because we all studied in school, and definitely this is something we can all relate to. Fine. Now, for this, they require efficient tools to analyze data in system and keep them safe. As I told you, this simple example about school. Okay, so keeping all this information, sometimes it is very essential, right? Like let's say if certain calamities occurs suddenly, let's say if there are certain teachers who are on leave, like who could be the substitution teacher? Let's say a math teacher is on leave, and who could be the substitution teacher who can take his place, his or her place for a day? Or if that teacher is absent for some certain weeks, then for that duration, which could be the perfect teacher who can actually go for the substitution? So all these things one needs to maintain in a record, in a system. And this is where Salesforce Tableau CRM comes into picture. Okay, so here, like you can have large data, and still it can give you the information which you need, like which could be the next teacher who is the teacher for maths, who is the most experienced teacher of maths. Okay, 5 years, 10 years. Okay, so in school you also need to maintain that, like any teacher who came up, if he's inexperienced, he is a fresher, he or she is a fresher, or he or she is experienced, and if he or she is experienced, for what kind of standards he taught. Like there are certain maths teacher who teaches for certain standards, right? Like from class standard 1 to standard 5, and maths teacher who teaches from standard 5 to standard 10. So all these things, basically, if you want to visualize in a proper way, Salesforce Tableau CRM is that kind of tool. Okay, so it gives quick answer to the business question based on predictive analysis powered by AI. And definitely there's something called as a Salesforce Einstein discovery as well, where you get to learn a lot more, like why it happened, what it happened, how it happened. Okay, all this basic information is something which Salesforce Tableau CRM also gives you. Okay, so any question up till here about Salesforce Tableau CRM? I mean, why Salesforce Tableau CRM? And like I hope you have been able to relate with the example also which I gave you. Any question from this slide? Any terms which you didn't understand, or
No,
any line which you? Yeah. Hi.
no question.
No question. Okay, fine. Okay, so now let us come back over here once again. So as I told you, when you have your own Salesforce Tableau CRM org, you are going to land up over here. And from here, as I showed you, you go to this app launcher and you can go for Analytics Studio. Or else what you can also do is, you can duplicate your tab. Like let's say if I duplicate this tab, and from here you can also type Analytics. Okay, so you can also type Analytics. So the reason I'm showing you this one is also because, like usually what happens, definitely if you open your org, you are going to navigate from here. That's not an issue. But sometimes, like in your real life scenario, sometimes you are not given that permission. Basically you are seeing this because a certain permission has been given, for which you are able to view the uh, that Analytics Studio, okay, icon. But sometimes when you are not given the permission, you may not be able to see that from your app launcher. In that case, you need to duplicate this. And what you can do is, from that .com, after that .com, you can delete everything. Okay, like from here only, after that force.com, you can delete other lines and you can just write analytics. Okay, now these are case sensitive. Ensure that you put it in small letters. Okay, analytics. And once you do that, you will also land up in Analytics Studio. That is one way. Another way is, you can also uh, like once you go over here, let's say if you open something called sales. Okay, so you can just open anything, and here you are going to find something called as analytics. Okay, so in this analytics, so basically these are tabs of Salesforce. Okay, in Salesforce you have different tabs. So I'm just talking this for somebody who is completely new to Salesforce. I think there was a person who is completely new. So in Salesforce you have different tabs over here. Okay, so in different tabs, if you open this analytics, fine, here also you can view all the features which you find in Analytics Studio. Okay, this is where also you can find it. Okay, but you have limited options over here. Okay, so like from there you can navigate to other things, but on a high level you can view from here as well, from this Analytics tab. Now once you come over here, actually when you go to your users, okay, let me go to my user, and when I go to my user details, now once you land up over here, right, you will find something called as permission set assignment. Fine. Now in your permission set assignment, the reason why you have been able to view the Salesforce Analytics Studio is because you have this permission. Okay, so again I wanted to walk you through for someone who is new to Salesforce, who has joined this session. In Salesforce, we are a we are very much concerned about the security. Okay, so there are different security which you have the org level security, like the access, like the kind of access we want to give. Fine. So in Salesforce we are very much careful about that, like what kind of access is given to somebody. So you have something called as the organization level access, then you have something called as the object level access, something called as field level access. So all these access are there. In Salesforce there is something called as profile. Fine. So as you can see, I have this profile over here. Okay, So system administrator means, like that is the super user, you can say. Somebody who is having the profile of system administrator, he or she is the super user, like he or she can literally do everything in Salesforce. Fine. Now depending upon the restriction, let's say, there are certain persons whom I want to see certain objects only in Salesforce, or there are certain things which I want him to open. There are certain navigation which he or she should be limited to. In that case, you have to go for different profiles. So there are a lot of profiles, like for example, if I click on edit over here, okay, I won't be able to see over here, but yeah, we have a lot of profiles. Okay, system administrator, then system users, okay, other things as well. Fine. So to view the profile, I think you can, like in the setup, you can just check for profile. Okay, again, I'm just walking this for somebody who's completely new. Fine. Just to ensure they also understand this session. So when you go to this profiles, right, in your setup, if you this is basically the search box of setup. Okay, so as you can see, one minute here, this is a quick find basically. Okay, in the quick find, if you search for profile, these are all the profiles which are available. When you open, you will also see it. Okay, so let's say if I open this one, the first one, this profile. Okay, so here you can see, like, what are the page layouts here, that particular profile is limited to. Okay, then what are the field level security. So again, this is a little bit of admin topics, but this will be great if you know it. Okay, so on a high level, like, this is what profile is. So through profile, we are restricting certain things. Fine. Now depending upon that profile, let's say we want to give certain extra permissions. Okay, for example, like, in school also, like in different classes, at least in my case, and I think maybe you all will be also able to resonate, we used to have different houses. Okay, so in my tenure in school, I used to have different houses. Like, we used to have red house, blue house, yellow house, green house. Okay, and in each house there used to be a captain. Okay, so now let's assume that class to be a section where everybody is having the same profile. I mean, everybody came to study, right? But everybody has the same profile, but there will be one leader, there will be one captain for each house. Let's say for red house, there will be a captain, there will be a vice captain. Okay, now this is what, this is nothing but an extra permission which a teacher has given to a student. I hope you will be able to relate to it, right? In a school, in a class, let's say if you're studying in the 10th standard class, in the 10th standard class, let's say section A, class 10A, there every student is having the same profile, everybody came there to study. But sometimes the teacher gives one extra responsibility to a student. Let's say somebody who is from red house, they become captain, vice captain from greenhouse, from other house, and then overall also you have a leader, overall also you have a captain of that 10A, captain of class 10A. Okay, who is going to represent, like, let's say if that class is representing in an intra-school competition or inter-school competition, you need to have that leader as well. So that is also assigned. That is nothing but an extra permission which is given by the teacher. So they have certain extra responsibilities, like they can manage the class, if required, they can take the diary notes. I mean, basically, when I was in school, like, the ones who were the leaders, that was their responsibilities. Like, if somebody uh, is not quiet or somebody is not maintaining the decorum of the class, their diary used to be taken away and it used to get reported to the teacher, or to the coordinator, whoever. So these are nothing but extra permissions. Fine. So in Salesforce, that kind of extra permission we give through permission set. Okay, so permission set is that kind of extra permission which we give. So in this permissions assignment, you find something called as Tableau CRM plus admin. Now, just because you have this permission, right, you are able to navigate to Salesforce Tableau CRM. As I told you, the org, which the link which I share, you can. Yeah, somebody was asking something. Hello, I'm not able to hear you. Hello, anybody is able to hear? I think somebody was asking something, or maybe I got lost.
No, we also not able to hear.
Uh, uh, okay, I think that person maybe logged out. Okay, anyways, so continuing on that track, Now just because you have that extra permission, although like this is definitely a free org, like everybody will have this permission, but at the end of the day, this is a product of Salesforce. Like in your real time scenarios, in your real life project, everybody will not get access to this. Okay. Yeah.
Why we need
Yeah, hi.
permission?
I'm sorry, your voice is completely cracking. I'm not able to hear you. I mean, I didn't get your question. Come again.
I will ping you in chat.
Actually, I'm not able to hear you. Anybody else is able to hear him? Maybe if somebody can help me to understand his question, because I'm not able to hear him at all.
No, I'm
His
also not
voice is
able
like,
to hear Bhash.
okay, okay, okay. Okay, I think he pinged in the chat. Why we need permission set? Yeah. So, okay, your username is coming as Bachi over here. Okay, so I'm just referring you by that name, Bachi. So the thing is that, as I told you, studying in a class, right? Let's say class 10A. There are certain students whom a teacher gives extra permission, right? Like somebody who's a captain or a vice captain. Okay, so for a captain, they are given certain extra responsibilities. Like they have the right to ensure that if somebody is making any noise or somebody is not maintaining the decorum of the class, they take their school diary and they report it to the teacher. Or they have the permission of punishing that student. Sometimes that teacher also gives that permission to the captain, that they can punish that student. And the captain also decides, like if there are any sports event, or let's say if there are any olympiad event, okay, or let's say there are any quiz competition, who will be the person who can represent that from his house, from that class 10A, from red house, who can represent that person. So that is the permission which a teacher gives, right? So permission set is nothing but, let's everybody is having the same profile, but there are certain extra permission which you want to give. Now coming back over here, Bachi, like in Salesforce, what happens, as I told you, when you are creating your I mean, when you are referencing that link, you will have this analytics studio. But in real life scenarios, everybody will not have that. Somebody, let's say in a Salesforce project, there are many teams, right? There could be marketing team, sales team, analytics team. Okay, so maybe somebody who's working on the Einstein analytics side, they only need to have the permission to access the analytics studio. Or let's say they will be having the permission to maintain the data manager and all. Okay. Or let's say there are certain objects. Okay, like let's say the accounts, opportunities, and let's say there is a very sensitive object. Okay, let's say an employee object, which not everybody should see. So in that sense, now the profile will be same. Basically, in your real time scenario, everybody will maintain the same profile. Maybe that system admin, like everybody is the super user. But in spite of having that super user profile, there are extra permission which you want somebody to have. Like let's say somebody who is in the marketing team, okay, or let's say velocity team or anything, they don't need this permission, right? They are not concerned about the analytics. They are concerned about their own domain. In Salesforce, we have so many domains, so they are concerned about their own domain. So somebody who is concerned about Einstein, who is working on Einstein, to them only you want to give this permission set. Okay, although they are the super user, which is fine. I mean, usually in Salesforce, whatever things you have, any normal thing they will be able to do. But after that, if he or if that person is from analytics team, only that person should have that extra permission to make changes, right? So for that, you need that permission set. Okay, so I hope, Bachi, I mean, I'm referencing you by this name which I see, because I'm hardly able to hear you, but I hope I am able to answer your question. You can type in the chat because I'm not able to hear you, but I hope you got this, like why we need the permission set. Can you just type it? Mm, okay, fine. I don't see any response, Bachi, but I hope I am able to answer your question. Okay, and you can type it anytime in the chat window if you have further questions. So let me just move ahead. So as I was saying, you have this Tableau CRM plus admin, for which you are able to view that. Okay. Similarly, in the permission set license assignment, you can see you have this something called as Tableau CRM plus. Okay. Now, because you have that, you are able to view it. For example, let me open this Tableau CRM plus admin. Okay. This is the permission set. Now, over here, if you go to the system permission, right? There's something called a system permission. You will see all the permission which you have. Okay. uh, so here you will be able to see everything. Let me do one thing. Okay. So as you can see, like, these are the different permission which that Tableau CRM plus admin have. Like, let's say they want to add recipients to the Tableau CRM notification. Okay. Add Tableau CRM remote connections. Okay. Download Tableau CRM data. Okay. So all these things, that person who is having this permission set will be able to do it. Manage Tableau CRM. Like, what does manage Tableau CRM is? Like, access all Tableau CRM features, like, the apps, the dashboard. I will be walking you through what this means. Okay. The data set, the lenses, all these things, they'll be able to view it. Okay. Use Tableau CRM, run apps to which you have access. Okay. So all these things, because this permission is there in the system permission, they all will be able to do it. Now let's say in Tableau CRM you want to have all this permission, but let's say you want to restrict some people. Like, let's say, in Tableau CRM only, as you know, there is a development team and there is a testing team, right? So let's say for the testing team, you don't want them to edit anything. Okay. You don't want them to edit any CRM dashboard, so you don't want to give this permission. In that case, you can clone it. Okay. So maybe, you can clone this permission set, and after that you can give that name a different permission, and then you can restrict those. For example, if I just clone it over here. Okay. Now once I clone it, I can give it a different name. Okay. Like something like testing team. Okay. I already made this like 2. Fine. So once I do that, I can save it, and then I can, like, let's see if I save it right now. It's already in use. Okay, let me name it as 2 as well. So once I save it, now if I go to system permission, right, now here I can edit it. Okay. Like, let's say I want this to be given to the testing team, then I can remove certain restrictions. Okay. Now in that main thing, you won't be able to do. Okay. So what I mean to say is, if I just go back once again. Okay, let me just go from the beginning only. So whoever is having this permission here, you won't be able to edit anything. Okay. So like, this is the standard permission which the Salesforce is giving you. Fine. To view the instantics. But let's say from your end, okay, sorry, let's say from your end, you want, there's a team which you have and there's certain restriction which you want to give, then you can just clone that and give that thing which you want. Like, here you won't be able to edit anything, edit all any permission which you have. You don't get that option. Okay. Because this is a standard one which Salesforce has given you. Fine. Okay. So now then, here, okay, up till here, any question to the ones who are able to hear me, and whom I can also hear? Any question till here? Anything you didn't understand? I'm starting from the very basic. Maybe this could be boring as well for somebody who knows those things, but assuming someone who is completely new, based on that, I am going ahead with this session. Okay, fine. So I'm proceeding ahead. So here, basically, what is this Salesforce Tableau CRM? We mainly deal, there is something called as app. So I think there's a person who knows about the standard reports and dashboard. So in an app, you stores all the information. So whatever information you have, you kind of have those all stored in the app, like any kind of dashboard, any kind of data set, any kind of lenses. Okay. All these things get stored in the here. Give me 1 minute. Let me just put in my charger. Okay. For example, here I have this ACE app. Fine. So under ACE, what are the different dashboard which I have? Like, these are the 2 different dashboards which I have. What are the stories which I have? What are the lenses, data set? Okay. I don't have any lenses and all. That's why it is empty. Okay. So this is my app section. So here it's nothing but a folder where, whatever dashboard data sets I have, all these things gets maintained. Fine. And once you go to this data manager, right, from that, if you go to data manager, so as I was telling you, the first word, extract. Okay. It's an ETL tool, right? Extract. Now how you extract data? Now there are 2 ways. Okay. So you can see something called as create over here. Okay. So once you click on data set, okay, so there are different ways you can create the data set. So data set is nothing but, what to say, the final information, the final output which you want to see. So many have experience in this reporting tool. So basically the final reports, basically in Excel sheet we maintain, right, what are the students name, what are their age, the gender, what are they good at, maybe academics or sport, in which subject they have scored great marks, highest marks. Okay, all those information which we maintain in Excel sheet, basically that is the final output, right? That final output is nothing but your data set. In data set you have the final data. So now how you can create the data, how you can extract the data. So basically, like as I was talking about the school, I mean the school example. So whatever things they have, whatever details they have about class 10 standard, they can upload as a CSV file. Anyhow they maintain in Excel sheet, right? Usually these things are done in Excel sheet. They can now upload this Excel sheet, okay, over here. Fine. So that data set, that extract part which we have to do, because at the end of the day we need to extract data. So extraction of data could be from external source or it could be from that Salesforce org. So you can do it by different things. Like let's say if there is an external data, when I say external data, from some external system, okay, like SAP, okay, or Oracle, fine, Google Big Cloud, all those things external comes under external data. If you want to take it up, you can go for this option. And if those data are related to Salesforce, you can go for this option. And if it is from a CSV, you can go for this option. So in different ways we can extract, okay. And in data manager also, like if you go over here, there's something called as connect, fine. So let's say you want to connect to some external sources. So if you go over here, connect to data, these are all your Salesforce connection, fine. So these are the Salesforce connection which you have. So you can add your own connection. For example, in my case, I had this 3 external Salesforce org, okay, Canada sales, sample, demo, and external Salesforce. These are my 3 external Salesforce connection. Let's say if you want to add a new connection, you can always go over here, fine. So you have different kind of connection, as you can see, Redshift connected, okay, Salesforce marketing cloud contacts connected. So what does all this means is basically these are all external system where you have certain data, and if you want to extract that, if you want to pull those data, you can always go for this option, okay. So when we start our main session, I will be walking you through how we connect to a Salesforce external connector. Like, you know, you give the connection name, the development name, and similarly, this connection is very simple. There's nothing hard over here, okay. So you just give your credentials, and then you will be able to access the data from an external org. So basically, you know, in my case, this is my external org, okay. Like this is my external Salesforce org, okay. And from here, whatever data I have, I can pull it in the Einstein Analytics. So I think that external Salesforce is nothing but this one, this external Salesforce which you see, right? Maybe either of these two, okay. I don't remember, I will just check it once, but either of these two, it's coming from here, okay. So whatever information I have, right, you, the account, the opportunity, all these things, I can view it from here, okay. So through connection, connect data, you can view any data from other external sources. So similarly, you have all this MuleSoft connection. Like if you add, you know, the MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server, whatever information you want to pull, you can just give the credentials and you can pull that. Okay. Then you have something called live connections. Live connections mean, you know, whatever data you have, if you want to bring it live, like you want to bring it as it is. It's basically the real time data. Okay. So in Einstein Analytics, we actually don't deal with real time data, which means like whatever changes you're making in the Salesforce org. Like let's say you have an account object. Okay. Let's say if I created an account object, immediately I won't be able to see that record in account object. Okay. I have to run this. So basically there's something called as run data sync. Okay. So what I mean to say is it doesn't give you data real time. Like let's say if you're making certain changes in your org, okay, in your Salesforce org, and if you want those to get viewed in the Salesforce Einstein Analytics, then you have to perform certain additional procedures, like, you know, running data sync and all to view those data. Okay. So when you see this SFDC local, these are all your basically the data which you are getting from your local Salesforce org. So in your local Salesforce org, you have all these objects, and those objects which you want to see, you see it in SFDC local. And let's say, like in my case, these are my 2 external Salesforce org. Okay. So from external Salesforce org, if I want to put in data, that also I can do. Fine. So this is how you connect. So as I told you, there's different way to extract the data. One is through CSV, through external system, through Salesforce org. Okay. Now once that is done, right, we kind of make certain transformation to those data. So in my case, like that transformation which we do, so I have now extracted the data. The transformation which we do, that is something which comes under data flows and recipes. Okay. So let me just open a simple one, maybe this one, and let me open one more thing. Let me just check. Maybe I can open this one, and I can open svtech demo data flow. Okay, up till here, any question? like how that connecting is happen. Any question which you have? So this is something I am explaining on a very high level, like I haven't come into any technicalities. Okay, so like how we connect, and to show the demo, that is a different thing which will start from the main session. But on a functional level, you understood, right, how we are extracting data and all. So if there is any question, you can just ask me right now.
So Avinash, so when we say Salesforce
Hey,
data,
I'm
right?
not able to hear you. Somebody saying something. I'm not able to hear
Yeah,
you.
can you hear me,
Any?
Avinash?
Okay, okay, now I can hear you.
Yeah, Avinash. So when you say Salesforce data, so if we
Mm-hmm.
have suppose different, right, other than Salesforce data,
Mm-hmm.
is that possible
Mm-hmm.
to create Einstein
Yes,
dashboards?
yes. Of course. As I told you, like if you go to this connect, right? So let's say if you go to this connect, you have this option connect to data, right? So it's not only about Salesforce, you can connect to any data. Like when I go to add connection, you can see, right, we have this AWS Redshift, we have this Microsoft Azure SQL, Oracle, okay, a Snowflake, okay, Marketo, Google Cloud Spanner, Zendesk connector, okay, HubSpot connector. I mean, any kind of system which you have, you can pull, okay. So you can see all those things like MuleSoft connection, all these things, okay. Then if I go to maybe the live connections, okay, here also you can see this direct connector which you have. Fine. So if there are any external systems, you can do that. And let's say if there's an Excel sheet, like for example the school example which I gave you, maybe they have been maintaining all the records in the Excel sheet, then also you can upload as a CSV file. As I told you, from this data set you can just upload those files. So those files, once you bring it in the Einstein, you can view it as a dashboard. I hope I'm able to answer your question. Hello.
So if the people don't have Salesforce, right, Salesforce Access, they cannot view
Mhm.
Tableau CRM dashboards, or they can also view without Salesforce.
Mhm. Um, uh, they can basically see if they want to view it in Salesforce. Definitely, they need to have this access. Okay, for sure. But let's say like let's say some administrating work which is going on in school. Okay, let's say if I open any dashboard, maybe this one. Fine. So if you want to send them something, okay, then maybe you can go for this shared option. So once you go, you can download this. Fine, like you can download this whole dashboard as an image, and you can sell them. I mean you can send them through email. So that is something you can do. You have that flexibility. But yeah, if you particularly want them to view the dashboard as it is, like you want them to do these changes. For example, if I click over here, this is changing. I'm clicking over here, this is changing. Okay, all these things, if you want the user to do, I mean these things, then they definitely have to have this access, Salesforce Tableau CRM. Otherwise they can't view it. But yeah, on a high level, if you want to give them the picture of this, then you can go for different option, like shared downloading and sending it to them and all.
Hey, Avinash, quick question on the same lines. So,
Uh-huh.
as you're viewing this dashboard, right? If you have to
Uh-huh.
like schedule this dashboard, can you schedule this
Mhm.
dashboard on a timely basis, like morning, evening? Can we do it? Can we schedule this dashboard?
Okay, so basically when it comes to scheduling, right, you can never schedule dashboard actually. But I understood your question. Basically you are saying, like every time we have certain additional datas, right? Like let's say like for example in the industry, I am having this much industry, but let's say some new industry gets added, and if I want to view those on the dashboard, so instead of manually doing it, I want a scheduling process, like automatically, if some new industry gets added in the Salesforce site, to view them in the dashboard, I don't need to do anything, it automatically gets done. That's what your question is, right?
No, no. My question is basically, let's say someone want to view this report on every Monday. Instead, they coming
Uh-huh.
to this Salesforce Analytics Studio. They can see it on their emails just by clicking it, or just the same thing on the email. What do you call body? So, is there any way we can schedule any of these Analytics Studio related report or dashboard? That way, it goes to the user email directly instead of they coming here to view the report.
User email, I have to check it once. Maybe user email, I don't think so it's possible, but I will check it once. But yeah, they can do something other also, like for example, in the Salesforce. Okay, so let's say if I go to my sales, okay, let me just show you one example. So basically, let's say if there is a tab, okay, let's say there's an account tab. Maybe that person is not having the permission to go to Salesforce Einstein Analytics. But let's say that person has this account, and over here, maybe I want to see certain dashboard. Okay, like for example, I have only created this one. There's something called as opportunity dashboard. Okay, let me just open it for you over here also once. Okay, OPPTT dash. Yeah, sorry. Opportunity. Mhm. One minute. Okay, as you can see here, this is an opportunity dashboard which I'm having. Fine. Now this is something I can view in the Einstein Analytics Studio, right? Analytics Studio I can view it. But let's say, as you were asking that question, right? If there is a person, just mute yourself. There's some background noise coming up. Just mute yourself. Yeah, just mute yourself. Um, okay. Yeah, just mute yourself once. Actually, some background noise is coming. So let's say this dashboard, which I can view in the Analytics Studio, let's say there's a person who wants to view that. Okay, as you were asking, right? So that person can view that over here. So there's a different way we can do it. Okay, like here, that person can view it. I mean, every Monday, if he just comes to the Salesforce, okay, he can view that dashboard over here. He doesn't necessarily have to go to Einstein Studio. Okay, he can view it over here. Like whatever information he wants to see every Monday, or like every day if they wants to see, they can view it over here. Okay, for email part, I don't think so it's possible, but I will still cross check once. Okay, for email, I don't think so. There's any feature which we have, but I will still cross check once.
So Avinash, if they can view here, right, but they still need a license in Tableau
What
CRM,
license they need?
the one you're
Tableau
talking about,
CRM.
the Tableau CRM license. If they want to view here, they still want the license.
For them, then that's not required. The license is not required. Like they can view this information over here, because see, try to understand, they will be not be able to make any changes, huh? Like what I mean to say is, that person won't be making any changes over here. You got my point, right? That person can only view it and check it, like what are the things which is required. So the permission is only needed when you want to view it in the like what to say, in the Analytics Studio, or if you want to make certain changes. For example, right now I can make the changes. Okay, like I can remove this one if needed and all. Okay, so all these things I can do. But for this you need permission, but for this one it's only about viewing. So for that, that is not required. Okay, but yeah, now if there's something called as open Analytics Studio, like this thing is there. Okay, so that if that person doesn't have that thing, as I told you, the license, then that person won't be able to view it. Like for example, in my case, if I open this, right, I will be able to open the Analytics Studio. But any person who is not having that permission, then they won't be able to view this. Okay, like they won't be able to open Analytics Studio. I can do that, but that person won't be able to do. But yeah, they can see the dashboard at least. Okay, I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, Avinash, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Hi.
Avinash, quick
Yeah,
question.
go ahead.
So I might
Yes.
drop off in like 5-10 minutes. So before I drop
Acha,
off, I
acha.
just want to understand if we opt to the classes, right? What would be covered and how long the sessions would be, and those kind of things. So mainly, I'm interested in understanding more on the Tableau data sets, data flows, SAQLs, and there is something where you can even write formulas, create new fields, and
Yes, yes,
like
yes. Yes,
more
yes,
into the
yes.
other side. So how deep you go into them, and like what kind of examples you take. So can you briefly explain
Sure,
on
sure,
that?
sure. Because you're dropping off, Srikant, because you'll be dropping off, let me just quickly tell you what are the things which will be covered. So basically, Srikant, see, I will be covering like how we connect the data. Okay, like on the Salesforce, it will be mainly external Salesforce, but you can connect to any other orgs as well. Because once you know how to have the credential things, you will be able to connect. But I will show you one example about the Salesforce, okay, external Salesforce. Now, once that is done, I will be walking you through the data flows and recipes. For example, this one. Okay, like what are the nodes? Like what are the different nodes which which we have, what are the purpose of each node, and then basically what are the different calculation which we can do. Okay, like here what are the different statements we can do, what are the different calculation which we can do. Okay, these all the things which I'll be doing. Then on the data set layer, like once you open this, okay, so once you open any data set, like what are the different transformation which you can, like for example if I open this, okay, over here what are the different things, like you have this conversational query. Okay, then what are the different ways you can view the charts and all. Okay, then how you can add different data set over here, and you can go for left join, right join, all these things. Okay, and let's say if I want to make certain changes in the naming section, or let's say if I want to what to say make certain changes in the colors, then how that can be done. Okay, all these things will be covered. And then as I was talking you about this dashboard, like for example this dashboard, I think, yeah, okay, I close that dashboard. Yeah, this one, for example, as you might be understanding, these are nothing but bindings. Okay, so how these bindings and all is done, fine. So let's say if I go over here and if I click on edit in the advanced editor, how this binding is performed. So as you can see, these are nothing but your bindings. Okay, like as you can see how I'm grouping by, these all are bindings. Okay, so bindings how you can do, so different kinds of bindings, selection binding, result binding. Okay, how that is done, then the data set, what the in the lenses, how you view those things. Okay, then the advanced SQL section. So let me just quickly see if I have any dashboard which I can show you the advanced SQL. Okay, like SQL. Okay, so different kind of SQL, like sometimes there are certain things which you have to do directly in the SQL part. Okay, so everything you won't be able to configure. For example, if I walk over here, so this is your advanced SQL section. So how you do these things, I mean, basically these things is not possible by just point and click. You have to make some changes in the SQL part. Okay, so how this group, this union, all these things will be walked through basically. Okay, so anyhow you will get one website link, okay, from svtech, where you will be able to get like what are the topics and subtopics which will be covered. But yeah, just to walk you through basically how we are connecting that, in the data layer, what are this data flows recipe, what are all the nodes which we have, what are the function of it. Okay, then for the recipe side as well, like what are the different things which are available on the recipe side. All these things will be walked through. And then on the designer layer, like how you design the dashboard, what are the filters which you have, and then how you go for the advanced SQL. And then also on the stories part, like in this thing, in stories part I will be walking you through briefly, like what are the different models you can, sorry, what are the different models which you can have. Okay, and what are the different kind of stories, like how these predictions and all. Again, this will be just on a very admin level, because this is something which came completely new, the stories part and all. But whatever knowledge I have regarding the stories part, okay, that thing will be shared with you. For example, you can see in the stories section, 1 minute. So yeah, discovery for fair, let's say, like how these things are analyzed, like how the fair gets highest, this whole thing which is being done by this reporting tool, how these things are done and how exactly they are doing it. Maybe on a deeper level this won't be covered, because there's a lot of statistics and all involved, which is a different topic altogether, and this is something which came new. But on an admin level, the discovery part, the stories part will be covered. So yeah, to answer your question, because you will be leaving, like these are the things which you will be expecting, Srikanth.
Yep.
Anyhow, I will be
Thanks.
walking you through, but just for you, I'm giving on a quick note, I'm just explaining you that, because you will be leaving
No,
the
no,
session.
this is helpful. This is helpful. Thanks, Avinash.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thanks, Srikanth. Okay, coming back over here. Okay, yeah, so basically we connect. Okay, then we kind of make the transformation. So as I was showing you, it's the data flow where we make the transformation. So once you extract it, okay, so basically this node SFDC digest, like any data which you are pulling from your local Salesforce org, we always store it in the SFDC digest node. Okay, but let's say if there is any data which you are taking from your external systems, from other system, from your CSV file, we go for this digest. Okay, I beg your pardon, actually it's only from your external systems. Okay, not from your CSV file or anything. But let's say if there is certain things which you extracted from your CSV, let's say you have uploaded a CSV file, then you can go for this HMART, like that is already stored as a data set. Okay, and you want to pull that data set once again, then you can go for the HMART. Okay, and then you have different kind of nodes as well. Append is like appending, it's like just adding two nodes which you have. Let's say let's say there's a something called as local Salesforce org, where you have the Einstein analytics, and then you are connecting with some external Salesforce org. And let's say if you want to append those, if you want to add those two, then you go for this append node. Augment node is like mainly if there are certain common keys which are there, and based on that you want to proceed further, then you go for this augment node. So there are different kind of expression like over here which we have. So this is the data layer side. Like any kind of transformation which you want to make, you go over here. For example, as you can see, I have extracted this opportunity. Okay, this is nothing. When I go for SFT strategy, is coming from my local org, so I'm going for this opportunity object, and here I'm doing certain extra transformation. Okay, for example, I've said something called as current date. Now this current date is something which I don't have in my Salesforce. Okay, in the Salesforce side I don't have. Now this is nothing but a derived field. Basically, whenever you are adding any field, so when I say derived field, it means, see, there are certain fields which are coming from Salesforce side. Okay, for example, if I go over here, let's say if I go to my accounts. Okay, so in my accounts, you can see there are certain fields, right? Like if I go to the detail section of accounts, you see all these fields which are there. Okay, so these are the source fields which you are anyhow existing, which you can pull in anytime. But let's say if I'm adding certain extra fields on my own, fine. So those kind of fields are known as derived fields, for example, which I was showing you over here. These are my derived fields. Okay, so now let's say if I there are certain other derived fields which I want to put in, let's say name and type. Okay, so all these things I can do it over here. Fine. So this is your data layer side where you can make all the transformations which you want to. Okay, for example, here itself, okay, here you can see like I've done certain augmentation, like opportunity and account. So somebody who is not completely new, you must be knowing this actually. Like for account and opportunity, what is the relationship which we have? Okay, so like as you might be knowing, like one account one account can have several opportunities, but one opportunity can have only one account. Okay, so basically that's the relationship which we are having. Now based on that, how we are augmenting it, so we know that one opportunity can have one account, but one account can have many opportunities. So depending on that, how that augmentation is done, like let's say if there are certain accounts for which I want to view certain opportunities, let's say there's an account one, for that I want to view all the opportunities, the total number of opportunities. For that we go for the augment node, and then specifically perform other calculations and all. Fine. So these are the things which we will see mainly in the data layer side. That is, on the data flow and recipe, how we do that. Let me see if I can open any other. Let me open this one maybe. Sample of this one. Okay, I think these are fine. So for example, here itself, 1 minute. Okay, like here if you see, I have pulled from my local Salesforce org the account object. Okay, and I have pulled from my external Salesforce org the account object. Now if I want to combine these two, fine. So to combining these two, what I did, I gave a different org name and org id, and then I'm just appending it. So when I go for append, what it means is different data will be here, right? Like for example, in my local account I will have different data. Like for example, you can see, like in this account I have Fowler. Now this is my external Salesforce. Okay, so this is my external Salesforce. Let's say if I go for sales. So after going to sales, let's say if I go for account quickly. Okay, let me go for all. Let me go for all accounts. Now, as you can see, let's say S4. This is the record which I have over here. So this is my external Salesforce, by the way. Okay. So here you can see I have this record called S4. And in my local Salesforce, I had this called Fowler 322. Now, to bring all those in one place, I go for this append node. So through append node, what I will be able to do is I will be able to bring all the records from my external Salesforce as well as from here. Okay, we go for this append node. Fine. Then we have something called as the filter node. Let's say if I want to give certain filter layer on the data layer. Now filter is something you can give on the data layer as well as on the designer layer. So based on that, I can give that filter and I can proceed ahead. Okay, depending upon the requirement of the project. Fine.
Ganesh,
So this, yeah, yeah, hi.
how uh, how to get this color coding in the data flows?
Sorry, come again, Venkat.
How to get the color coding for in the data flows? Color coding.
Oh, actually, this color coding is nothing but it's a Chrome extension. Okay, it's just a Chrome extension which I'm having. Fine. So yeah, like if you search in Google EA dashboard helper, okay, let me just do it for you. You have this EA dashboard helper. Okay, So if you just download this, right, just download this. Okay, like already it's added for me in the Chrome. So once it's added for you, actually in the data manager, once you do that, okay, you will get this thing called as auto arrange layout. So once you click over here, automatically the coloring and all happens for you once you do that. Okay, and this is just an extra feature. I mean, this is not a feature. So basically this first three thing which you see, right, these are nothing but the extra feature which I have. I think the first two, I'm sorry, this first two which you see, this is just an extra feature because of the Chrome extension which I added. Okay, this is just for my own beneficial purpose. I mean, many person likes it, many person doesn't like it. Like many person doesn't like the coloring and all. So yeah, but if you want that, like you can just download this. Okay, like add that extension, and once you refresh this page, you will be able to see this too. So once you click over here, you will get that coloring aspect. Fine.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, this is because of the Chrome extension which I'm having. Fine, nothing else.
One more
Okay.
question.
Yeah,
Can we upload?
yeah, sure.
Can we upload Excel files also? Excel files.
Yeah, yeah, as I told you, right, like once you go to this analytics studio, okay, in the analytics studio you have sorry, this is my data manager, 1 minute. Yeah, in the analytics studio you have this create option, right? In the create option, once you go for this data set, you can upload the CSV, like whatever CSV you are having, you can upload it by selecting this. Okay,
Only CSV or
so in
Excel files also. Excel files.
you can't okay, so see, basically Excel and CSV are same thing. Okay, but yeah, particularly in analytics studio you can't upload the Excel file. First ensure that you know that Excel file, whatever you have, you save it as a .csv file. So you can not upload the Excel file. It doesn't give you that support. So whichever Excel file you're maintaining, right, just ensure you save it as a .csv file. Once you do that, you can upload it over here.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is easy to do, right? Excel file you can always save it as a .csv file. That's not an issue. That after that you can upload it. Fine.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, hi
Yeah.
Avinash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi.
like after applying, I mean, in Tableau CRM, we can connect through data like Excel or any other Salesforce or any other databases. After connecting that through, we can go. I mean, the data reflects in Data Manager, I guess.
No, no, no. The data, like once, let's say if you have uploaded any CSV file, okay. So once you
Mm.
upload any CSV file, you are going to see it as a data set, okay. Like for example, like once you upload the CSV file, right? If you go to your data set, here you will be able to see that, okay. Like I think, yeah, in my case, when I uploaded one CSV file, as you can see, okay. So like I had an Excel called test ABC. I first ensured that you know that was saved as a .csv file, and once I uploaded that, basically you are going to view it as a data set. So that data set you are going to view over here. So these are nothing but all the data which are coming from my uh, .csv file. Okay, so let this open. Okay, I think I didn't query this. Okay, this data set was not open for many time. But anyways, just to answer your question, like or I think this one data set from CSV demo svtech, or let me try it one more time. Usually, you know, when you don't open any data set for a long time, you get this error. So it has been a long time since I opened this data set, I guess. Let me give it one more try. Maybe it should open. Okay, okay, but anyways, like whichever like CSV file you are having, right, you will be able to view it as a data set actually. Okay, like this is the way you can view it.
Yeah, I mean, after data set, whenever it uploads here, CSV file, it will upload as data set, and we can edit or modify in Data Manager, I guess.
Yes, yes, yes. In the data manager, like let's say once this got uploaded, right? Like for example, what I was showing you, yeah. For example, data set from CSV. Let's assume this is a CSV file. Okay, let's assume this is a .csv file. Sorry about that. So once that is done, there's something called as edgemart over here. Okay, so in the edgemart you can actually bring in that data set. Okay, so I think what was the name over here? This is data set from CSV, right? So if I click over here, data set from CSV, I can bring that. Okay, so this is the file. I can bring that. I can give the name, and then I can like that will come as an edgemart, which I was explaining you. Fine. So after that, you can do the transformation which you want to do in that CSV file in this particular layer, in the data flow or recipe, whichever. But yeah, currently I'm showing you the data flow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Same applies for Salesforce data. I mean, all the other stuff, I guess. as Excel,
Yeah,
as
for
CSV.
Salesforce data, as I was saying you, yeah, for oh, as a CSV, yes, like no, see, if you are uploading anything as a CSV, that has nothing to do with Salesforce, right? Basically, if you are uploading a CSV, you will go for this edgemart. But let's say if you are pulling some data from your Salesforce org, let's say from your internal Salesforce org. What I mean by internal Salesforce org is the org where you are having the Einstein analytics. Then you go for this SFDC digest. Like here, you just give the name, the object name from where you are pulling the data. Let's say if I'm pulling from account, okay, and you just select the fields. Fine. And let's say if it's an external, you go for this digest. So let's say in the digest, you give the connection name, like whichever you connected, then you give the object name, and then you select the fields which you want to pull in.
Okay.
So different nodes are being used, but yeah, everything you can pull it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this is about the data flow. The same way we can do transformation on the recipe. Okay. So in the recipe also, like there are different nodes and all which are available. Okay. So we you have this kind of different nodes, the join nodes, okay, the transform nodes, okay, the output nodes. So all these things you can like there are many transformation like append, okay, join is more kind of an like an augment node, some with some extra features. So all these things you can do on the recipe. So basically this data flow and recipe, it's basically for what to say, transformation, I mean transforming the data. Now, this is known as the data layer side. Now once everything is done, we go for the dashboard layer. Okay, so if I open my Analytics Studio, so you can build the dashboard. Okay, let me just open a few dashboard maybe. uh, Demo dashboard, my motivate, bindings, account and opportunity. I think I anyhow opened a few things. Give me a minute, let me close a few things. Opportunity details. Okay, so we can build different kind of dashboard like this. As you can see, this is a dashboard which has been built. Okay, let's say if you want to view all the details and all, you can view it over here. So similarly, we have the sample details dashboard. Okay, so currently no data are there by because I think I didn't run the query. But yeah, different kind of dashboard you can always use. Similarly, we have this opportunity dashboard. As you can see, okay, there are different ways which this has been built. This I've done with the help of one trailhead actually. Okay, so ultimately whatever like things you are building up, you will be able to see it over there. Fine. Let me open this one, svtech, and let me just do one thing. Let me go to this demo svtech dashboard, dashboard sample details, dashboard binding scenarios, interaction, sample scenario without binding. Okay, so we can build different kinds of dashboard. For example, over here if you see, like these are the account industry which I can see. Okay, resource not found. Okay, this is not existing. Let me, okay, for example here if you see, like when I go for billing country, I can see the billing country, then I can go for industry. Okay, so depending upon what kind of selection you do, this kind of facets. Okay, like for example here also, like let's say if I choose something, let's say if I have chosen close lost, as you can see, it's getting interacted, right? Like based upon this selection close lost, everything is getting changed. What this means is, for this particular stage close lost, I have only this opportunity for Spencer. That is why it's showing me this, and it's showing me the amount for this. Okay, let's see if I go for closed one. Fine. So in closed one, I have all these opportunities. So I have opportunity for colon, opportunity for heartbeat. All these opportunities are there which are having this closed lost as a stage, and I can view the amount which I have for different amounts. I can view it over here. Okay, let's say for need analysis, if I want to do it, so based upon different kind of selection, different kind of charts gets take place over here. Fine. And let's say if I select something over here, so based on this also sometimes it changes. Okay, and let me just return to the initial view, and these are some of the filterings which I have. Let's say if I want to view some records for the current fiscal year, if I update that, then I can view it. Currently I don't have any result for the current fiscal year, that's why it's not showing me anything. Let's say if I have something for the maybe previous quarter, if I view, then also I don't have any records. But yeah, based upon the selection, we can see the changes. Let's say if I want to view for maybe last 180 days, let me see. Yeah, anyways, here I don't have records, so that's why I'm not able to view, but we can actually always go for that. Okay, let's see if I go for all time right now. Let me go for all time, and let's see if I so here you can see I have certain account ID. This is my filter. Okay, why it is not opening? Okay, it's responding a bit slow, but let's say if I have certain things, like here I don't have values, but let's see if I go for partner. Okay, so anyways I had only partner over here. So depending upon different kind of filters, I can go for it. Just 1 minute, is responding a bit slowly, this dashboard. Okay, so let me just return to the initial view, and let's say for account name I want to view certain accounts. Let's say I am only interested in viewing let's say the first 5. And if I click on apply, I can view the details of those accounts. Okay, so these are the ways we can play around with the dashboard. Fine. And here also, let's say if I want to view the top 5, basically it's showing me the top 5 industry. Okay, and if I want to view the top 10 industry, I'm able to see it. And if I want to view all the industry, then I can select this kind of. So depending upon how we depending on the requirement, okay, of the project, we can build different kind of dashboard. Okay, and based upon each selection, it get faceted or broadcasted to other widgets as well, and that way we can play around with the dashboard. Okay, and finally we have something called as the stories. Let me just rearrange this a bit. I've opened too many tabs. Okay. Okay. So finally, let's say if there is certain stories which you want to view. Let's say I had this Titanic. Okay, this is again based upon a trailer which I did. So like what are the informations and all which I can view? Okay, like that this is nothing but just a CSV file, and in CSV file what are the variable names which are having and how it's correlated. Okay, so all those information I can view, like when did they survived, and how the top insights, like based upon the gender for which they survived. And let's say there's a certain age, like how the performance and all is going on. So these are nothing but your insights. Okay, as I shared you in one of the slides, like it's a powerful AI tool as well, which helps you to give information like what are the ways in which it could have been able to perform better. Okay, let's say if you're in a school, okay, and there's a class 10 standards. So basically like that particular class has never won any competition. That class has never won any sports competition. Do you know, to analyze it, like why exactly they never won, like which are the students which could have been selected, which are the students who are not focusing much on study but has a huge interest in extracurricular activities. To extract those students, these stories and all actually comes into picture. It can help you, like which are the students who performed better on the sports side and who can represent the school, who has the ability, and what are the achievements which they have and how much practice they do. All these things, this can help you. Okay, this is the basic example which I took about school. But in business also, like where exactly the revenue is not taking place, what are the factors which is hindering the revenue, which is hindering the growth of that company. All those things, if you want to view on a detailed analysis, then this is where the stories come into picture and all. Okay, and then after that you can build separate models. Okay, so once you go over here, you see this. So once the stories build up, we kind of view different kind of models as well. Okay, so again, all these things, there's a lot to cover. Like you need to have a complete knowledge about statistics and all those things. But again, this is something which came relatively new as well. From last year it started. Okay, I won't be walking through much in details about these things, but yeah, I will give you a high level overview as I shared in the course content also. This will be walked through on a bit high level, like what are the ways you can view it. Okay, but not much in details. Okay, so in details I will be covering the analytics part, like how you kind of connect, how you kind of make the transformation. Okay, in the data layers, in the data flows recipes, and how you build the dashboard and all the data sets. Okay, the lenses, all these things will be covered. And of course there are some additional extra features also which you have. So all those things will be covered right from the starting till the end. Okay, so coming back to the PPT, I think I have shown you enough about this Tableau CRM. Let me just quickly walk you through the PPT maybe. So as I gave you the demo on this, okay, the Salesforce Tableau CRM. Formally it was known as Einstein Analytics. So don't get confused, like any recruiters and all, if they want this profile, they still refer as Salesforce Einstein Analytics. But yeah, personally I have just got used to saying Salesforce Tableau CRM. I just only write this word formally Einstein Analytics just for any people who are not aware of it. Okay, nothing else. Otherwise I have got used to calling it Salesforce Tableau CRM. Okay, so this is basically the journey. Okay, just wanted to tell you, like the Salesforce journey started from 2013. Okay, at that time, like it is at that point of time, that point of year, when this whole thing came into picture. They kind of acquired this EdgeSpring, and at first in 2014, as you can see over here, it was known as Wave Analytics. Okay, so in 2014, this thing which got just started. Okay, of course at that time there was not much feature. I mean, currently it's well advanced, there's a lot to learn. Okay, but yeah, when it got started, it was known as Wave Analytics. Nothing much was there. Slowly and slowly started building up, and in 2016, I mean, that's how it happens, right? You have so many companies, but there could be certain companies, like who are playing very big, and they acquire certain other companies, right? And you take that features. I mean, this kind of things always happens. So this is what happened over here as well. Okay, so it acquired certain things in certain years, and it got rebranded itself. Okay, for example, in 2013 it acquired this Beyond Code, and after that it was called as Salesforce Einstein Analytics. Okay, and in 2019, then like somebody was asking what's the difference between this Tableau and Tableau CRM, right? So that's the thing. Actually, Tableau is a completely different tool. There's a lot of additions, but yeah, this session is all about Salesforce Tableau CRM. Okay, not about Tableau. Okay, Tableau is a huge thing. Okay, so here, because it acquired, it rebranded it as Salesforce Tableau CRM. And of course, like most more or less, of course I don't have complete knowledge about Tableau, but yeah, more or less all the features which you get in Tableau, it's being done over here as well. You will get it over here as well. Okay, and yeah, like Salesforce Einstein Analytics, okay, was renamed into in the year 2020. Fine. So I already walked you through this part. Okay, what are the benefits? I think this is something which I already covered. The important trends which you can have, you can view the dashboard and all. I gave you a very basic example of school. Okay, through that I wanted to just tell you like why we need this tool and all. Okay, and so somebody who is already having knowledge about Salesforce, like that question might come up. Okay, like I have the Salesforce reports and dashboards as well, then why I want to use it, Salesforce Tableau CRM, right? So in Salesforce Tableau reports and dashboard, there are a lot of limitations. Fine, so you have a lot of limitations, and as I told you, this is all about AI tool as well. Like I have personally also used Salesforce reports and dashboard, but in dashboard, there are a lot of features which are not available. For example, you can't combine two or three objects. Like let's say if there are two or three objects, and if there's a certain filter which you want, let's say you are having leads, opportunity, and account. Okay, but let's say there's a filter on lead which you want to have it at the top, you won't be able to have that. Okay, like the filter which you want to have in a Salesforce standard reports and dashboard, there you have to ensure whichever field is adding as a filter that is common to all the objects. Now that is something you don't find it in Salesforce Tableau CRM. Just one basic example, but yeah, there's a lot of limitations which you can overcome. Like this is one example. Okay, so somebody, I think there's a person over here who knows about Salesforce reports and dashboard much. So these are the limitations which you have, and that all limitations are, yeah, you can overcome it by this Salesforce Tableau CRM. Fine. And also, in this standard reports and dashboard, you can only view data which is there in your Salesforce, right? So whatever data you have in your Salesforce, that only you can view in that Salesforce which you are using. But let's say if I want to view data from other external sources, that is something you can't do in your reports and dashboard, but we can do it over here. I already showed you, right, how we can do it. Fine. So these are some common questions I already walked you through. Okay, I think many person has asked from here as well. Okay, and these are the components which I walked you through. These are the main components. Fine, we have the app, the dashboard, the lens, the data flow, stories. Okay, I already walked you through what are the apps. Fine, the dashboard, I already showed you a few dashboards and what are the things which you have. Yeah, just coming on the dashboard, maybe I can cover this a little bit. So basically, let's say you have this dashboard, right? So these are the different components which you have. Fine, so you have something called as chart. So let's say if you want to view certain charts from certain data set, you can always view it. For example, let's say I have this demo data set, and if I go for this bar section, let's say if I go for account industry. Okay, so it responding a bit slowly, but yeah, I can always go for the chart over here. Okay, if I click on done, so this is something which is the chart. Okay, so similarly you have something called as the table as well. So let's say if there are certain tables which I want to view, okay, I can view it over here. So you go for this option called values table. So under values table, let's say if I want to view the information in this Excel format. Okay, so for viewing it as an Excel format, I can click on done, and this will come as an Excel format. Okay, for that table is used. Then you have certain other things like text. If you want to add certain text over here, let's say if I want to add text to this dashboard. Okay, let's say if I want to add something called as binding scenarios. Okay, so I can always do that. And let's say if I
Uh,
give it middle alignment. Okay, so once I click on preview, I can view. Yeah,
yeah, sorry
yeah,
to
sure. Tell me
interrupt,
what was
Avinash.
it.
Yeah, so like when we're creating a dashboard, like where do we connect the data set? How do we pull the data set here? Uh, you have shown the dashboard here. Suppose like
Yes, yes.
I want to connect the SVTech demo data set into this dashboard. So how do we do that?
Where is that SVTech demo set? I didn't get you. Can you guide me where you saw? I mean, you are talking
I
about
mean,
this data
I
flow.
mean the data set. Yeah, the data set. Like initially we create a data set, then we see
Sure,
what
sure.
kind of
Got
different
you. Yeah, yeah,
recipes
I got it.
needed, and then finally we
Yeah,
build
yeah.
the dashboard.
Mm,
So now, if we want to
mm,
build the dashboard, like how do we connect?
mm.
How do we relate the data set to the dashboard?
Got it, got it.
That's my
Let me
question.
just take this example. Okay, let's say I have this data set external org account. Okay, let me just take one example. Okay, so I have built this data set, right? External org account. Fine. Now the question is how I can build the dashboard, right? So you just come over here, you just click on create, you just click on dashboard. Okay, so this particular data set which I already have, that is external org account. Now how will I bring it? I will create a blank dashboard. Okay, now once I create a blank dashboard, you just pull in a chart. Okay, now once you put in a chart, fine, you have different kind of data set over here. You just copy the data set. Like for example, I want to bring the data from this data set. Okay, now you select that. Now once you select that, you can actually like do the further things which you want to view. Like let's say in this case I don't have, let's say if I want to view count only. Okay, count of rows. And let's say if I want to view the industry. So once you do that, this is how you get that. Okay, you can always do it in descending. So this is my data set which I just showed you, and depending upon whichever data set you want to bring, you can just bring it over here. I hope you got it.
Yeah, this helps. Yeah, thanks, Avinash.
Okay, okay, cool, cool. Yeah. Okay, anyways, going ahead, so different ways we can build it. Okay, these are all the kind of widgets which we have. Fine, so you can have this navigation range. Okay, toggle, so then list, all these things will be covered when we start the session. Okay, but different ways we can have it. Fine. uh, yeah, and this kind of things, like what is happening over here is I have one particular page where I have built this. Okay, now you can do it in different pages, but let's say if I want to build in one particular page, that time we have to go for bindings. Okay, so all these things will be covered, all the different kind of dashboard we will be walking through. And some dashboard where you need some advanced skills, like the bindings, some advanced SQL, all those skills will be covered as well. So I think you all might be having the course content. Okay, so there it will be like whatever you get, that all those things will be covered. Okay, so these are the data flows, lenses, stories. Okay, I showed you some example. Now future. Okay, like why you want to learn it. Fine. So this is something I already walked through the first one. So Tableau continues to be further integrated with Salesforce Einstein. Of course there's a lot of things in Tableau, but because of the way Salesforce Tableau is functioning, and it gives you a better visualization, and because a lot more extra features which are there. Okay, so there's a lot of scope actually which you have in Salesforce Tableau CRM. Fine. And definitely, as I told you, Tableau is a completely different thing. I personally don't know Tableau, but yeah, there's a lot to learn over there. But still, a lot of features is continuously getting integrated. Okay, like as I was telling you, every time we are having certain Salesforce release, so whatever features you find in Tableau, a lot of them are getting integrated. Okay, and it's heavily investing on the Einstein analytics and discovery. I think this is something which started from last year. Okay, and here I will be walking you through the admin part of Einstein discovery in this session. But yeah, there's a lot to learn in future. Like once you want to go to this ML AI. Okay, currently I am also learning a lot about this statistics and all those things as well. Fine. So there's a lot of scope over here once you jump into this ocean. Okay, I mean, here of course I will be walking through the basics of the Einstein analytics, how you have that ETL approach and all. But after that, in discovery, there's a separate topic. Discovery is completely a separate topic altogether. Einstein discovery, then Einstein, all these things. Okay, so those things won't be covered much over here. But yeah, there's a lot of scope featured as well. Fine. And the next step includes data access capabilities that make it easiest to access data manage in Tableau and in Salesforce. Okay, so these are the ways. This has a lot of future. I mean, not many people are currently having the skills actually for which is in high demand. As I told you, it started way back in 2013, but it was just developing itself. Okay, of course at that time, not many people were much interested to use that product because there was not much capabilities. But yeah, slowly it has grown a lot, and in future it will definitely grow much more. Fine. So there's a lot of future, and you have separate accreditation professional certification for this Einstein only. I mean, there are close to 4 or 5. I may not be able to tell the name currently, but yeah, there are 4 or 5 accreditation professional certificate as well for Einstein. So there's a lot of scope. Okay, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to discover. Like currently, of course, I am myself am going through discovery part also. Like I have a lot of things to learn over there, explore over there as well. So there's a lot one can learn once any person jumps into this particular application. Okay, yeah. So anyways, this is all from my end. I think I already extended the session a lot. It was a 1 hour maybe, but I extended by some 30 to 10 minutes, and I think many person has left as well, which is fine. But yeah, that is all from my side actually. And thanks a lot for giving your time. I am sure many must be having some work and all, and I think many expected 1 hour, but it extended it quite a bit. But yeah, I wanted to just ensure that you get a proper understanding, like what are the things you are going to expect from this particular course once you attend it. Okay, and now it's completely the Q&A session. So anything which any question which you have, you can ask me right now. Any further questions if you have.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Avinash. Actually,
Hi.
like basically, I mean, without knowing any knowledge, we can join this session like any Salesforce or any other stuff like Tableau or any.
Yeah. See, I don't know Tableau. Okay, as I told you, Tableau and Salesforce Tableau CRM is different. I don't know Tableau, but I know Salesforce Tableau CRM, of course. Okay, and you don't need anything about Tableau. I personally don't know Tableau as well. Okay, coming to Salesforce side, it will be good if you have a little bit knowledge about the objects and all. I mean, what are the objects you have, like accounts, okay, opportunities, cases, and what are the relationship, like the lookup relationship, the master detail relationship. Okay, all these things, it will be great if you have that, because see, you don't need admin knowledge, Salesforce admin knowledge, because Salesforce admin itself is a huge thing. But at least the basic parts, like what are the profiles, what are permission sets, okay, what are the objects which you have. Okay, but even if you don't have that, I will cover it. Okay, not an issue. Okay, I will still cover it. But as I told you, Salesforce admin itself is a huge thing. Not everything will be covered, but at least from the perspective of this course, whatever you need to understand, I will definitely explain you. But yeah, as a prerequisite, it will be helpful if you have a basic knowledge about the Salesforce objects, the relationship, okay, the profiles, permissions. These are the main things. Okay, nothing else. And I will be covering this as well. So not any bit of knowledge about what Salesforce is about. That will be helpful. But you don't need to invest a lot of time over there. I mean, just a little bit of googling will help. And anyways, I will cover up in the initial session. So that won't be an issue.
Yeah. Thank you. And one more, like I have seen one of the certification of Salesforce Tableau CRM Einstein Analytics. So by attending your class, like we can cover that content. Am I like?
Yes, of course. Like whatever things you have in that, because I am also myself like Salesforce Einstein Analytics certified only. Okay, so basically whatever topics you will be having for the certification, all those topics will be covered here for definitely. Like you can just search the contents also, what are the certification required. Like you will see the data layer, the design layer, bindings, okay, advanced SQL, all these things only. Then something related to discovery parts and all. So all those things will be covered actually, and after ending session you can actually go for the certification. And maybe after the end of the course, I will be sharing you some question bank as well, which will be a bit helpful for you. Okay, so yeah, those things you can definitely get from here. Actually,
Thank
just
you.
one
Thank
thing
you.
before I
Thank
move.
you.
Yeah. And before I move to further questions, I will just answer somebody who is asking the question. I think Bachi, you are not able to speak up. Okay, I am late joined, so can I get recording? I think all these things have been answered. Okay, let me just check. I think a lot of question has been, why we need permissions, I covered. Can we create new fields? Yeah, we can create new fields. Those are known as derived fields, which I already showed you. Okay, so basically, if I just show you once again, like here, 1 minute. Like here, whatever fields you see, right, these are all known as derived fields. These are fields which I created in the Einstein analytics side. Okay, to answer that question. And let me just come back. Can we create new fields? I answered. Okay, can we upload Excel? Yeah, I think I already answered that question. Recording, so for recordings, just contact with Kishore. I mean, he will be able to tell you if you will get the, I mean, this is anyhow going to get uploaded in YouTube, huh? So this is anyhow going to get uploaded in YouTube, so you can view that. Okay, not an issue. So can we create data set without SFDC registered? You can create Wincut. So basically it depends like what's your requirement. So SFDC registered is used. One SFDC registered, we can create, no, so one thing actually, see, to create data set you always need the register Wincut, huh? So see, at the end of the day, if I don't have this register, right, I won't be able to see the data set. Okay, so this is like the final outcome. I mean, register is like the final outcome unit, like whatever transformation you're doing, if you're not registering it, it's of no use. It's like, basically the final output, it gives you the final output. So you always need the register to view the output. You always need the registered, huh? So that is always needed. So yeah, moving ahead, what is the CSV file max size? I currently don't remember, but we can just check it, huh? There's a particular link, okay, where we kind of see, actually, I don't concern myself by all these questions actually. Like, see, like in the currently, the number of data flows you can create is 100 actually in Einstein analytics currently, okay, in Tableau CRM. But there's a particular link where you can actually have detailed information, okay, the size and all. I don't much keep track, because, and I will tell you the reason as well, because see, with every Salesforce release, right, they kind of always upgrade the features. Fine. For example, currently we are having the limitation of data flows, maybe it could be 100, but sometimes later they can also increase the number of data flows as well. Okay, so every time it's optimized. Okay, like currently maybe there's a particular limit up to which you can upload a CSV file size, but they can optimize it later as well. So that's why I don't concern myself by this kind of question much, like what is the maximum size I can upload. Again, it's good to have that knowledge for sure, but there's a link actually which I will be sharing you once we start the session. There you can always go and check it. Like, that's what I do. There's a particular Salesforce link where I can view those things. Okay, how many days we need? So basically this course actually will take around you can say 25 to 30 hours. Okay, so basically assuming, like, if I take the session on the weekdays, like from Monday to Friday, so I think within 1 month it should get covered. The session will be around 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Okay, from 1 to 1.5 hours it will vary. Okay, and you can expect this to get covered within 1 month, assuming that we have regular classes from Monday to Friday. Okay, so I think 20 days is enough. Okay, that is 1 month. Okay, how many days we need to complete the session? Yeah, the same thing as I told you, Bachi, the same thing. Okay, okay, I answered everything in the chat window. Yeah, anybody else has any further question? Okay, one more question, shall we do any certification? No certification is required. You just need a basic knowledge of Salesforce. That's it. Okay, you don't need any kind of things to attend this, but as I told you, a little bit about Salesforce initial basic knowledge will be helpful. But at least from the Einstein Tableau CRM perspective, whatever things you need prerequisite, I will try to cover, okay, in the initial session. Not an issue. Okay, anybody else has any further question?
No, nothing from my
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
And probably what would be the starting date? Ram Mohan here.
Probably next week, but still contact with Kishore. Okay, so Kishore will anyhow take like, once this session is over, Kishore will give a bit of further guidance, and you can contact Kishore on this. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for the
Yeah,
session.
anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
Avinash, and also
Yeah, yeah.
while during the class, you also explained interview questions and answers too, right?
Yeah. Basically, that is something I will take at the very end. Okay, at the very end, I will cover. See, interview question and answer. I will just share my experience. Okay, like whatever interview I have attended, of course, a lot of interviews related to Salesforce WCRM. So yeah, based on my experience, whatever I have, I will share it to you. Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Hi Avinash, this is Venkat.
Yeah, hi Venkat.
What is the main difference between dashboard and story?
Okay, so dashboard is like, whatever data you have, you can actually view it. Like, for example, this is all the datas. I mean, whatever existing data you have, right? That is something you're able to view on the dashboard. Coming to stories is like, if you want to have deeper analysis, like this is also more or less like a dashboard only, if you can see. But this dashboard I haven't created. So dashboard is like you are creating it, okay, or you can go for some certain sample dashboard which is being provided by Salesforce Tableau CRM. But stories is like, it gives you more details. Like as you can see, it gives you more details, like where exactly it's doing worse. Like for example, this Titanic story which you see, where exactly it was doing worse, like depending upon which gender it has been performing badly, okay, what are the other things which you have. So it's more like it give you detailed insights, like what has happened in the past, what could be worked upon in the future. So stories is more about like, just like as the name suggests, it's like gives you complete picture, complete story of the model which you are going to build, okay. And dashboard is like whatever data you already are existing, those kind of things if you want to view, you are viewing it on the dashboard, okay. Okay, last chat window question is how much cost. So basically, Salesforce Einstein and its certification costs around $200. Okay, $200 is the cost. Fine. Okay, anybody else any further question? Okay, so no more questions, right? Okay, fine. So I think that's it from my end. So right now I hand it over to Kishore. So yeah, thanks a lot once again, everybody, for attending the session. And yeah, hopefully we can catch up
Yeah.
if you
Hi
join the
everyone.
class.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Avinas. Thanks for today's demo. Yeah. Hi everyone. Okay, we are
Yeah,
planning
thank
to
you.
start demo most probably from Monday. We'll be give notified. Okay. If you need any if you need any further clarification, please contact svtechsoft. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Okay, let me stop for today's demo. Okay. Yeah. If you need any further clarification, please contact svtechsoft. Here, actually, we are mentioning the email address and contact number. You can WhatsApp us also. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Kishore.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Yeah,
Bye
thank
bye.
you.
நீ சொல்லு நான் சொல்ல